Hello, hello, hello. Make sure that everything is streaming the way that it should be. I wanted to make sure that I came here on time as promised. Let me make sure that we're streaming here and we're going to go ahead and get started. It is the first night of relationship revival. And I probably need to get my glasses. So it's showing that I'm live. I probably need to get my glasses. So it's showing that I'm live. So hello, hello, hello. Come on in the room. The first night of relationship revival. And I wanted to make sure that I came on time as promised. So if you are new here, I am Arnitris L. Strong. I am the founder of Love Elevated with Arnitris. And tonight we are going old school, like old school revivals that we used to have in down home churches in South Georgia. But this is a revival for your relationships. And so I want to make sure that I am dedicating time. And this is a series that we're going to do every Wednesday night. I want to make sure that I'm dedicating time every week to your relationships and giving you the tools that you need to revive them, to breathe new life in them. Everywhere I turn online, I'm seeing people are frustrated with the dating process. They don't know whether they're coming or going. Just like the old people that used to trudge into those revivals at my down home church in South Georgia, tired, weary, their souls are tired, looking for an answer in order to make it through the week. And so that is what relationship revival is going to be. I'm going to be giving you some answers to revive your relationship, revive your dating journey. We're going to go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep you too long. And so tonight we're talking about the modern dating game exposed, what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. So this is a live stream. It will be becoming private after the live stream. And so if you join my email list, you'll be able to view the live afterwards. Okay, so tonight we're talking about the modern dating game. And if you're here, if you're following this page, you are probably a single professional over the age of 30, and you are probably a little bit frustrated with the modern dating scene. So I hope that I can give you some insight into some things that you may be doing wrong and give you some insight, some tips on how you can actually fix those things. All right. All right. So, here is an agenda, and don't be alarmed. It will not take long at all. Let me turn this light off. I think that's better. It will not take long at all, but here is a brief agenda. We are going to do an introduction. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into Love Elevated with our niches. We're going to talk about our vision and our mission. We're going to talk about our call and response. If you're following me, you're probably, if you're not a Christian, if you're not, don't consider yourself a practicing Christian anymore, you do probably have some experience with the church. We're going to talk about what our call and response is going to be, and we're going to talk about the modern dating landscape. I'm going to give you some dirty truths about the modern dating landscape. One mistake and a few more you are probably making. And then I'm going to give you some tips about how to fix it. I am not going to just lay out all of the problems without giving you some tips on how to fix those things. So let's jump right in. All right, so I am Arnita Strong. I introduced myself briefly. I am Arnita Strong. I am a relationship consultant and the owner of Love Elevated with Arnitris. And my goal is to empower single professionals to revive their approach to dating and relationships, to heal the relationship that they have with themselves so that they can move more quickly toward their goal of elevated love. The vision for Love Elevated with Arnitris is to become the premier platform where professional singles redefine modern dating by nurturing intentional relationships and elevating their love lives, and ultimately leading to fulfilling partnerships that stand the test of time. My mission is to empower professional women and men to elevate their dating experiences through intentionality, self awareness, and the pursuit of authentic connections. So, we guide individuals to heal their relationship with themselves, preparing them for meaningful, lasting love that aligns with their values and their desires. And if you are new here, the verbiage about healing your relationship with yourself may be a little foreign to you, but you will see that all throughout my messaging at Love Elevated with Our Natures, because it is exactly the thing that I had to do for myself so that I could move more quickly toward my goal of elevated love. What I now know is elevated love. But I had to heal my relationship with myself first. The relationship that I have with the woman in the mirror. I had to understand that I was the common denominator in every relationship I had ever been in. And in order for me to achieve that goal of having a love that stands the test of time, I was going to have to face some hard truths. So, yes, one of the things that we do here is we help to guide you to heal your relationship with yourself so that you are able to move a little bit quicker toward that goal of elevated love. So let's jump right into tonight's topic and let's talk about the modern dating landscape. And the modern dating landscape, I have my notes here. The modern dating landscape, if you spend any time online, then you will probably likely see men complaining about women, women complaining about men blaming women blaming men. But the truth of the matter is there is enough blame to throw around on both sides. So some of the dirty truths about modern dating is that the rules are kind of unclear. The rules are unclear. There is a plethora of choices. If you have been able to look at my last video that I posted, I talked about the paradox of choices and how that is keeping you lonely in your search for love. But there are endless choices. That is another dirty truth about the modern dating scene. And there's also a pressure to maintain an image. And so all of those issues, coupled with your own personal experience, have probably impacted the way that you approach relationships. And I want to make sure that you are giving some thought to those things, the unclear rules, the endless choices. Too many choices can be a problem sometimes. Too many choices can definitely be a problem. And then the pressure to maintain an image. We are online all of the time and we see so many images of what love is supposed to be. We see images, relationship goals that are portrayed, and then sometimes we get to see a peek behind the scenes, and what we thought was the case wasn't necessarily the case. So let's try to unpack that just a little bit. And so I have a question here for you. How do these factors impact the way that you approach relationships and how you show respect to others? The unclear rules, the endless choices, and the pressure to maintain an image. I want you to tell me in the comments how that has impacted your approach to relationships and how you show respect to others. I understand how frustrating it can be to we're disappointed time and time again on the dating scene, and sometimes you probably want to not be so respectful. But we don't want to let our experiences change the person that we are inside. But I would love to hear how these factors have impacted how you approach relationships and show respect. So let's talk about the one mistake that you are probably making in your dating efforts. And if you are getting anything out of this live, I want you to talk about it on your social media platforms, on your profiles, and use the hashtag relationship revival so that I can chime in on the conversation. So let's talk about the one mistake that you're making in your dating efforts. And I can tell you with a surety. With the amount of time that I spend online analyzing posts, talking to clients, vetting people for my online dating show, and looking at reality TV, any relationship reality TV that has ever been known to me, and I probably looked at least one episode of it. And so, the one mistake that I can say with all assurity that many of you are probably making on the dating scene is that you are ignoring the importance of etiquette. If we could just get back to the basics of how we should be interacting in the social scene in social situations, then a lot of the issues that we are seeing on the dating scene will probably be solved. So, I want to give you a couple of instances, a couple of situations that come to mind about how we are. Sorry about that, how we are underestimating and ignoring the importance of etiquette. So, one of the things that I see a lot is that we are failing to communicate clearly. So, if you are on the dating scene and you have a desire to nurture a committed relationship that leads to marriage or some sort of domestic partnership, um, you should be clear about that. Now, also, if you are on the dating scene and you have no interest in a committed relationship, you're only looking for friends, you're only looking for friends with benefits, you're looking for something really, really casual, you should be upfront and honest about that. A lot of heartbreak and time we could prevent a lot of time being wasted if we were just clear about what our intentions are. And then another thing that I see a lot of is just a blatant disrespect of boundaries. So let's say that you're in a situation and the person that you are seeing is only interested in something casual, but you're interested in a committed relationship. And this person has told you, this is all that I have to offer at this time. Have you ever been in a situation where your boundaries were disrespected and the person tried to persuade you to kind of change your mind? Then that would be a disrespect of boundaries. And I see that a lot. So, again, one of the biggest mistakes that I see that are being made on the dating scene in your dating efforts is that you are ignoring the importance of etiquette. And another way that I see a lot that really, really bothers me is the lack of showing a genuine interest. And again, I'm not here to point the finger at either men or women. There is enough blame to go around. I see where there are women who aren't necessarily interested in men, but you give them just enough to keep them kind of um, on a string, for lack of a better word, so that they're actually chasing you. And then you have men as well that are not really interested in the same thing that the women are interested, or maybe you have decided that this woman is not someone that you would want to pursue for a committed relationship. And you aren't clear about that. You're not showing that you are genuinely interested, and it's causing a whole lot of commotion. All right. So, number one, let me know. I see that I have a couple of people watching. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. All right. So, we've talked about ignoring the importance of etiquette. And the second thing that we want to talk about is I see a lot of people that are prioritizing surface level qualities. If you are interested in uh, a committed relationship, a fulfilling and nurturing relationship, then you probably want to consider qualities that are a little bit deeper than the surface level things. I see a lot of women, and we talk about men being superficial, but I see a lot of women that are really, really focused on looks and status over compatibility and character. And it causes issues. You want to make sure that when you are on your quest for elevated love, that you are seeking people who whose values align with your own. And that is going to require that you look a little bit deeper than the surface. You look a little bit deeper than looks. You look a little bit deeper than status. And I'm not saying by any means that you should get with someone who you are not attracted to. I'm not saying that at all. But I want you to just take some time to really get to know the people that you are considering, and you want to consider the qualities. You want to consider their character. You want to consider if they are a compatible match for you. Another problem that I see a lot is that you are not really clear on what it is that you even want. In my initial consults with clients, one of the first things I ask is, what do you want? It seems like a very simple question, right? But you would be surprised to know how many people really, really struggle with answering that question. And so that leads me to the next problem that I see a lot of, and that is engaging without clear intentions. So if you come to me to consult you on your journey toward elevated love, one of the first things we're going to talk about is what your intentions are. And so, because that is going to determine our next steps. If you want a casual relationship, then the way that we move is going to be aligned with someone who only wants a casual relationship. If you want a committed relationship, the plan that we put in place is going to be aligned with someone who wants a casual a committed relationship. I'm sorry. I remember I was dating this guy years ago. It's been a while ago. I met this guy, and to be honest, I wasn't really interested in him in the beginning, but he asked to take me out on a date, and I decided that I would go out on the date. And I don't know how many of you know, you can spend enough time around someone that you can start to find reasons to think that they may be somebody that you want to get to know a little bit better, right? The more time you spend around someone, the more attractive they become. And so we went out a couple of times, and I decided, he's not too bad. Even though I wasn't initially attracted, he's not too bad. And we sort of settle into a routine. You know how you go out on a date a couple of times and then you settle into a routine. Maybe your routine is that you go out to dinner every Friday night, or maybe you go out on Saturday nights. Whatever your routine is. After a couple of months, we had kind of fallen into a routine. And we're all grown here, right? We're all grown here. We know what happens when adults spend time together for any amount of time. And so he told me, um, I don't want a committed relationship. Well, this was like 6 months in. And again, we had fallen into a routine. I would talk to him every day on my way to work. I would talk to him on my lunch break. I would talk to him before I went to bed at night. And we had our routine, and we would see each other most weekends, unless he had his children. We would see each other most weekends. And so it was a little bit of a surprise, when he told me that he did not want a committed relationship. And he also said, well, I told you that I didn't want a committed relationship. Well, he hadn't quite told me that he did not want a committed relationship, because that's something that I probably would have remembered. And so when he told me, hey, I don't want a committed relationship, I told you that I didn't want a committed relationship, and I didn't make a big deal of it. I just decided that I was going to pull back. Again, I told you we had fallen into a routine. We were talking several times a day. We had our weekends where we would go out and hang out together. And so I kind of fell back. The next morning after he told me that, I did not call him on my way to work. And so he called because he was wondering why I had not called him. And I didn't answer. And so I did not call. So did not call him when I went to lunch that day. And so when I got back to work, I had a message where someone had actually called me. Now, I didn't give him my work phone number. He knew where I work. He knew the place that I work in the city. So I'm assuming that he probably called around to several of the locations until he found out which location that I was working in. And I remember honestly feeling a little bit flattered that he had taken that time to figure out where it was that I worked and to call me at work. And I'll admit that he reeled me in just a little bit with that. But again, this guy had determined that I don't think that it was necessarily he did not want a committed relationship. It was that he had already determined that I wasn't someone he wanted to have a committed relationship with, which is perfectly fine. But he wanted to continue to spend time with me. And so we spent time together. I think that we kind of saw each other for probably another 6 months or so before we kind of dwindled out. But if he had been clear with me from the beginning that he did not want a committed relationship, even if he had said, you know, I've noticed some things about you that don't kind of align with what I want for my life, I would have been perfectly okay with that. But the fact that he wasn't clear about his intention up front was a problem. And so engaging without clear intentions is a real problem. And it's something that we need to address. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to fix that. So, entering situations or relationships without clear intentions can look like having um a casual relationship like the one that I had with the guy that I was just talking about without being without an understanding about what's going on, because I was under the impression that we were working towards something that was more committed. He was under the impression that we were casual. We had not had a conversation about that. And so we don't want to have a situation where you're unclear about what is going on, because that is how feelings get hurt. Okay, so let's talk about how to fix these issues with modern dating. So we talked about one of the first problems was not being clear or not understanding the importance of etiquette. And etiquette, I mean, at the very basic level, etiquette is a set of unspoken rules, really, um, about how to interact in social settings. It's about making sure that you're honoring yourself and also respecting others. And so, one of the ways to make sure that you're doing that is by being clear about what it is that you desire, being clear about what it is that you want, and also communicating that respectfully. We also talked about the issue of respecting boundaries and values. And again, that really goes back to being clear and communicating things that you want, making sure that you are communicating that in a way that the other person understands exactly what it is you're needing. And another part of that is making sure that you are understanding what your values are, understanding what intentions and your non-negotiables are, and making sure that the people that you're choosing to entertain align with those values. And then the other way that we can fix that is by making sure that we're practicing patience. Like this, understand that the journey to elevated love is not um, a sprint, it is a marathon. And so you don't have to arrive there tomorrow. You want to make sure that you're taking your time and you're actually vetting people to make sure that they really align with what it is that you say that you want. So again, you want to make sure that you're being honest and direct with your intentions and your expectations. You want to uphold your own standards while you're respecting the standards of others as well. And you don't want to rush the process. Take time to understand each other's deeply. And if you're still here, I told you that we were going to do a call and response. Like if you have been in the black church for any amount of time, then you when you hear this phrase, then you know what the response to be. If I said God is good, then if you are in the black church, then you would know that your response would be all the time, right? And then sometimes someone will say, and all the time, and then you will say, God is good. So our call and response is going to be, I will say, is there a heart in the house tonight? And I'm sure that you know what comes next, right? You know the song from the Five Heartbeats movie, is there a heart in the house tonight? The next line is stand up, right? So that is our call and response. Give me a stand up in the comments. Is there a heart in the house tonight? Give me a stand up in the comments. So I want to do a recap of what we have talked about. We talked about the problem, and everything that we have spoken about the issues that are going on the modern dating scene, all fall under the umbrella of ignoring the importance of etiquette. Because if everyone would just approach the dating scene and handle people's hearts, because that's exactly what you're doing. I have always been committed to making sure that I handle people's hearts with care, even especially the people that I do not have an interest in a romantic relationship with, if they have an interest in a romantic relationship with me. So if everyone would approach the dating scene with that rule of thumb in mind, then this problem would really cease to exist. But we are faced with people who are engaging without clear expectations. We are faced with people who are not communicating clearly. And we are facing people who are not prioritizing the real qualities that will lead you to a healthy and fulfilling relationship. But again, the fix is here. I hope that you brought your notebooks and your pens. The fix is here. Clarity and communication. Being clear about what it is that you want, being clear, communicating that clearly with the people that you meet, respecting boundaries and values. Number one, knowing what it is that you want and making sure that every action that you take after you have decided what it is that you want is taking you closer to that. And also making sure that you're respecting boundaries. And then the last one is practicing patience. Again, elevate the journey to elevated love is actually definitely not a sprint. It is a marathon. And so you're in it for the long haul. You're wanting to find a love that elevates you, that nurtures your soul, a love that stands the test of time, that is fulfilling. And so let's talk about the Love Elevated Introductory Guide to Modern Etiquette. I am on a mission to reinstate etiquette into our journey for elevated love. And so I have created the remember the little black books from the 70s and 80s? Maybe your brother had one, or your uncle, or maybe your dad had one, or cousins. But the little black book, this is my vision for our series on modern dating etiquette. And this is an ebook. It will be available probably in quarter 4 as a physical book. I have gotten my copy printed and bound, but it is filled with introductory. Just this is a base. This is an intro to modern dating etiquette, and it is a playbook. It is filled with tips that will help you on your journey toward elevated love. We're going to talk about modern rules that can make or break your dating success. It talks about digital decoding. You know, back when we had the little black books that were in the 70s, we didn't have to deal with the digital aspect of dating, and that aspect has put a little bit of a spin on there. But I spent some time talking about digital decoding and breaking down how to navigate online dating, how to navigate the introduction of our technology that, it's so easy. Back in the day, we had to sit around at home and wait for a phone call. Now you are always within reach of people that you are meeting and getting to know. We're going to talk about how integrity can meet strategy. We talked a little bit about approaching the dating scene with respect, And so we're gonna the book talks about balancing old school respect with the new norms of today's dating scene. And just like the secrets in those little black books, these insights are going to give you the edge in finding and keeping meaningful connections. And I'm going to drop the link down in the comments so that you can grab your copy of the Love Elevated Introductory Guide to Modern Dating Etiquette. It is only $9.99. It's not a physical book. Nothing will be mailed out to you. It is a digital download. You'll get it immediately after you make your purchase, and you can make that purchase on arnitraslstrong.com. But I will make sure that I leave the link down in the comments below. I want to give you just a little bit of time to ask any questions that may be on your heart. So I'm going to make sure that every time I wrap up our relationship revival, remember we're going to be here every Wednesday around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I'm going to ask you if all hearts and minds are clear. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. If something comes to you later on, you can put them in the comments below. I'll hang around for the next 20 minutes or so. And if not, then it's good night. And I want us to connect. You can connect with me here on YouTube at Love Elevated TV. You can connect with me on all social media platforms at Arnitras L. Strong. My website is arnitraslstrong.com. And if you want to shoot me a message, you can shoot me a message on Arnitras at arnitraslstrong.com. Also, on arnitraslstrong.com, there is an option for you to send me a video question. If you have a question that you want to ask me about love and relationships, you can send me a video question and I will send you a video response back. And if our hearts and minds are clear, we'll meet again next week on this very channel for Relationship Revival, our second session of Relationship Revival. And, I guess we will chat then. May the Lord watch between you, me and thee while we're absent one from another. So I'll see you guys again on next week. And this live is going to stay up. I'll probably leave it live up for about 24 hours. Then I will be making it unlisted, and you will actually have to be on my email list in order to see that. So moving forward, just like those revivals that we used to have at church back in the day before you had cameras and all of that good stuff, you have to be there in order to enjoy it. Otherwise, you can be on my email list and you'll be able to binge watch all of the sessions. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week for Relationship Revival.